is my third attempt at the Controversies of UFC 101 video. And if it doesn't work this time, it's not getting uploaded. Basically, gonna address a couple of things that people have been bringing up as controversies from UFC 101. Normally I'd also be doing a WC review video, but circumstances conspired to not permit me to see the card, so I will not be doing a review on that. But basically, we start off with the undercard. There were two split decisions on the undercard. I have not seen the fights. Were the split decisions wrong? I can't say. People say the Sherdog play-by-play indicates that, the John Howard Tanner Victoria one was wrong. I hate to say this because Sherdog it's a great site. Some of the people on there are very I can't think of a nice way to say it. So, just not good. I'm going to stay away from that. But their play-by-plays, I've noticed, sometimes completely ignore what is actually scored in the UFC. This is what you got to realize when you're scoring a fight, is what are the judges supposed to be, not necessarily are, but supposed to be looking for. This kind of goes with my whole, people bring up damage a lot, and damage is not in the criteria. It is effective grappling, striking, aggression, and octagon control. I would like to note that it's effective aggression, not stupid aggression, which you see sometimes. So I can't really comment as whether those were good fights. I'm just saying, I would suggest, before you say it was a controversial and wrong decision, you watch the fight instead of the Sherdog play-by-play. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, and I would familiarize yourself with what is really scored in the UFC, and you kind of got to understand that a fight that a guy may have won in, old school Pride or Dream isn't necessarily going to be the same guy who wins under the UFC system. It is what we deal with, whether we agree with the system, which I personally don't, but it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. You have to, accept that this is the system that is around. You can lobby for change, but until it happens, it's the system you deal with. On to the main card, where we had controversy in the fight between Ricardo Almeida and Kendall Grove, with people claiming Ricardo Almeida did really nothing but lamprey. I find this ironic, because some of these people are the same people who actually praised Kurt Pellegrino, who did the same thing. I swear, if it wasn't for Joe Rogan, for whatever reason, kind of being on the Kendall Grove nutsack during that fight in the commentary, no one would be saying this. Almeida, this goes to a good thing about takedowns. Does the UFC score them too highly? You know what? Probably. But nonetheless, it's a technique. It's worth points. And top position is very important. Look at ADCC grappling, which is pure grappling point system. A takedown is 2 points. You can do nothing else with that takedown. In fact, this is how Jeff Monson wins half of his grappling fights. Takedown, 2-0. Winner. No guard pass, no nothing. And this is kind of the same thing with the Almeida fight, is strikes from the bottom are not that effective. You can cut the guy, and you get a stoppage that way, but again, damage isn't really factored in. So is it really effective striking? No, not really. Not really. And being active off your back isn't really good enough, because you've been taken down. You have to get something considerably significant, and the only thing significant Grove had off his back was the armbar attempt. And he stand up a couple times, which nullified some takedowns, but it's... And when you look at it, the striking wasn't some kind of lopsided Kendall Grove fest. So I don't see how people have such a problem with the judge's decision. I think the 30-27 was a bit much, because I thought the armbar actually did give Kendall the second round, but at the same time, I'm not really sure what you guys expect when you're fighting like Kendall Grove. Is there anyone, did Ed Herman go and pass the guard? I mean, did Patrick Cote do it? Did Alan Belcher do it? Did Evan Tanner do it? Did anyone Kendall Grove has fought, just take Grove down and pass the guard just like that? No. And I don't really understand why people have a problem with Almeida not being able to do it. I mean, Almeida's a hell of a grappler. Maybe it was a bad sign for him that he couldn't pass the guard, but at the same time, it's not like he wasn't trying. And this is kind of been the bee in my bonnet. Hendricks versus Sadala, early stoppage in my opinion, but the main problem is not so much that it's an early stoppage, that it was Dan Mergliotta, who is a continuously inconsistent referee. He has early stoppages and late stoppages, and in my opinion is the worst ref in MMA because he has no consistency. He's not even consistently a shit ref like what's his name, Fredrickson or whatever. The dude to the Affliction Arlovsky versus Nelson fight instead of Nelson up while Nelson had a Kimura. He's pretty bad, but you know what? You know what you're getting. He's terrible. You work with it. He's always terrible. It's not like he goes through these spots of being good. He's very anti-ground game. You know this. Miragliotta's, it's like a Russian roulette with Miragliotta, what you're going to get in terms of a ref, and that's a problem. And he should be fired. I don't like to call for people getting fired, but this is one of the times I'm going to do it. The final controversy appeared to be the Forrest Griffin-Anderson Silva fight. People saying Forrest took a dive. You know what, you can say Forrest took a dive, but it's in a different sense than what people are trying to get at. It's in a sense that he had a horrid game plan, which was to stand with Anderson Silva. In that respect, you consider going in with a bad game plan, throwing the fight, that's your throwing of the fight. And that's the only way you can look at it. People, I think, underestimate the power of a counterpunch. I think people underestimate the fact that he'd already been dropped multiple times in that round. I think people underestimate the fact that Anderson Silva hits a lot harder than people think. I think people underestimate the fact of just how mentally frustrating it can be to just get dominated like that. Because Forrest hasn't, ever gone through that. Like, every fight he's ever had, he's been in. Even the fights with, like, high-level guys like Tito at the time was kind of high-level and stuff like that. He's still in the fight. This is the first time I think he's ever been just, no matter what he does, Anderson's got the edge. And, maybe that should have been a clue to go for a takedown, but didn't take it. He also threw the game plan right out the door with that lunging hook that looked like a bit of a hook that he got knocked out on. Might have been a straight punch, but it's kind of caught like this, which I think is a little more of a hook. We're kind of like halfway between a straight and a hook. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the so-called controversies of UFC 101. I don't think they're really... I mean, the John Howard Tanner McCoy fight, I gotta go look, because that's the one people are more complaining about. Sakara versus latest, I think I could see being a split decision. If you got a striker versus a grappler, that's kind of the perfect example of how you get a split decision. Is one guy's really good at one thing, one guy's really good at the other thing, and you have different judges seeing it different ways. But the John Howard Tanner McCoy fight sounds like it may have actually been controversial. I'm gonna probably go see if I can watch it, and maybe you'll resend my statements on you have to understand the judging criteria. Maybe the judges did really drop the ball, but I think people have to understand this. A split decision doesn't instantly mean controversial fight. I think it means it's a close fight. Anyways, that's my thoughts. Leave comments, subscribe, rate, whatever. Please, I'm not going to say don't leave negative comments, because the negative comments are fine, I get those. It's the comments that have nothing to do with the video content that I'm kind of getting tired on. But anyways, later.